I'm recording.
I am too. Ooh, it's almost at half a meg.
So yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello out there in Packer Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We're on number 46. We're in the off season, 2018-2019. Got some exciting news. We're actually doing a video podcast in addition to recording the audio at the same time too. So
We
we think we're crossing our fingers just to make sure that getting all this done. But yeah. So this is Andy Hetzel you're seeing. I'll wave, even if for the people who just getting audio, they won't see that, obviously. But I'd like to introduce my other cohorts. We have Elliot Christensen, who in the past I've introduced as the IT guy, but he does not like that. He's not the IT guy.
Well, not if this doesn't work.
He's just a guy. He's Jack.
How about if this works? Then I'll be the IT guy.
Okay, but for now you're just a Jag. You're just a guy.
Then I'm just Jag.
Okay. All kidding aside, good to see you. We can now see each other now. It's cool. So, and then Jeremy Howdle. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? What's
the brain?
Yeah.
I am not the IT guy. That is for sure.
No, he's the film guy, but I don't think he likes that either.
brain.
So all the names and all the titles they come up with are not endearing terms, apparently. And then I'm Andy Hetzel. I'm the clown, class clown, whatever. I'm the fifth wheel, whatever. So, why don't we hop right into it? We actually got together, us three, this past weekend because got some coffee and just talked some shop. But one thing we wanted to discuss with our listeners is what we want to do for the upcoming 2019 season. And basically what we wanted to do was come up with new ideas and, just stuff to make the podcast better. And more listeners will gather more followers and whatnot. So we came up with kind of a short list of some stuff that we wanted to give a shot. And there's going to be some small changes we'll do. And I was actually working on doing a Photoshop composite to update some graphics. Did you get a chance to see that, Elliot?
That was awesome.
That was pretty neat.
Oh,
yeah,
that was awesome.
No.
Ellie's too good for it, but
I was gone.
No, I hear you. So I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I'm gonna be putting together just a few new things to kind of liven some of that stuff up. So look out for that. We're gonna want to try and get some more interviews. We've had interviews in the past. I want to say we've had 3 or 4, maybe. But we want to try and get as many as we can.
We had 30 interviews.
Well, I did have memory loss, so it's possible that we did, and I just forgot 90% of them. No, all kidding aside, I mean, it's great that I think we have good rapport with us and good banter and all that, but it's always good to get other people on in real time if we can to talk to them. So, we're aiming to get, as many value-added interviews as we can, and some maybe not so value-added. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see, we're going to introduce, right now we're using Skype to record the video, so that's a first for us. We've always just done audio where we've kind of logged in, online and done our audio and then mixed it down pretty quick from there. But, the next logical step is to provide some videos so we can get our ugly mugs out there for people to see too.
Well, and I think eventually, Jeremy usually puts together some amazing notes and bullet points.
Yes, without question.
Yeah, I failed.
No, you didn't, and I wouldn't be ready to put that on video anyway. But I think eventually that'd be cool to have too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, without question.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy's all aw shucks, but I got to say he knows. He's great with the film breakdowns, and on that point, I think we're going to try and we don't want to put more on his plate, but at the same time, I think we're going to try and do some more animated GIFs have become popular to break down some film, and the more we can provide there, I think is good. That's the way a lot of the blogosphere is going anyway. And it's just, I think even for us, and when I say us, I mean not Jeremy, me, Elliot, and I, we can learn more ourselves about Scheme and about things going on there. So, looking forward to that. I'm just kind of rattling down a list here. We wanted to record a live podcast. I kind of penciled in myself for the first home game, which is actually the NFL opener. It's on September 5th, Packers versus Bears at Soldier Field. So we're trying to get that put together. Fingers crossed on that. That'd be pretty cool if we can do that. And then any other time we could potentially do a live video podcast, I think we'll do that. But obviously, the logistics around that are a little more difficult. So that'll be special occasions, not all the time, just sometimes. Let's see. We want to get people more, involved in partaking in the podcast. And I know, from time to time, we're not perfect at this, but from time to time, we try to get people to call into the voicemail and, leave a message with anything they wanted to talk about at all. We want to continue to do that to get people involved. It can be difficult. When you put, I like to say, quote unquote, work on your fans, it's like it's getting lazier and lazier and lazier. But I think anytime we can get that going, that's good too. We've had a few calls in. I mean, not a ton, but I think that'd be definitely good if we can get that going in the right direction there. So that's kind of the short list for those out there of what we're planning to do. In the next season. So, our aim is to improve. We do this for fun. We're fans. We're not putting a ton of money into this. We're not putting a huge amount of time because we're all busy. But we want to have a good product to make it better. So, I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about that particular initiative.
Well, we talked about using some of our limited resources, like stickers
Yeah.
and some of the little promotional things that we're trying to do to reward people that want to call in or send emails. One thing that I noticed, which violates one of my top 5 rules of websites, is I don't have our phone number on the front page of our website. So I'm actually adding that right now.
Well, you came clean, so good.
So that is on there now. It's not exactly where it should be, but it's on there. So 508-535-5468. That's where people can call and they can leave voicemails. And if they do, at the very least, we'll get them some stickers.
Yep. Yeah,
Right?
to your point, I think we have some T-shirts and some stickers. That's the extent of the quote swag we have, or merch or whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. I need to double check to see the inventory of the shirts. It's not a huge amount, but at the same time, we have a bunch of stickers. So again, if we need to slightly incent people to be able to do that, I'm all for that. And I mean, the T-shirts and the stickers, we're not out to sit there and sell them for $20-$30 or whatever. And I look at them as like business cards. You're not doing your job unless you're giving them away, so it's minimal investment in that. And yeah, so that's definitely something we want to do. The other thing real quick, and then I can toss it over. Yes, there you go. Very cool.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to discuss real quick too about stuff we want to do was more blog posts. I think, Jeremy, full disclosure, does the most blog posts and has been doing that over the past, season or so, and he's been fantastic about it. I hate to keep going back to memory loss, but I have to keep going back to memory loss. I forgot you could blog through our site, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I've only done a few blogs in the whole, timeline of the podcast, so I'm definitely going to start doing more of those as I can too, and then I'll share them to Facebook and some social media as I can as well. So, yeah,
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, Jeremy, I don't know if you had anything to add or just to overall discuss.
No, I guess the biggest thing that I would embrace is more fan talking points, or just bringing up questions, because like we've all said, we're all fans just the same way as you are. So it would be great if you had questions to bring forward that maybe I could research, or Andy could research, or even Elliot. I mean, just something that we could all learn from. I think that's what we're here for. to learn and better ourselves and better the podcast, and be able to not compete with the Andy Nagler or the Aaron Naglers of the world, but I mean, just to provide some other form of Packers news that nobody else can provide, which we are completely organic, which is really cool. We don't rely on anybody else to provide us anything, So
Yeah.
get involved. We would greatly appreciate it. I would too, because I learn when I am approached with questions about stuff. That's the only way that you can really grow. And the only way I got to the point where I was at, being knowledgeable, at least halfway knowledgeable about football and scheme and stuff like that, is to ask questions to the people that are actually very knowledgeable in those respective areas. So, bring your questions forward. Uh, I'd be glad to help out anybody and try my best. But get involved. We greatly would appreciate it.
Well, and I think we absolutely do that. Like when Dakota got involved,
Hmm.
we got him
Yep.
right on. I mean, he definitely knows more than I do. So it's not a there's it's not, I don't know. There's no contest as far as I'm concerned because I would
No.
lose. Um, but I want all the fans on. I would love to have any knowledgeable fans, especially that we can get on to discuss, where things are going, how things can improve. Hopefully, the Packers organization can hear things that we're saying, that fans are saying, and take it from there.
Yeah. Good
Yeah, that's well
points.
said. I think expanding on that a little bit as you guys were talking was, there's a couple things that make us unique. Um, we're just fans and we have, kind of light banter. I mean, we have show notes and we have ideas when we come into the shows, but, we ad lib a lot. And we kind of want it that way. I think we're trying to discover what the brand is and where it's going. And, we want it to be continue to be organic and kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of off the cuff. So I think that serves us well. I mean, we don't want to be, morons up here spouting off things that we have no idea about. But at the same time, I think there's some value in just kind of, shooting from the hip, so to speak. And the other thing that we don't really
Hmm.
talk about a whole lot, that we should probably just mention in general is that we are a podcast in the epicenter, ground zero. We all live in
Hmm.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. So,
Mm-hmm.
Elliot's not like in California where most IT guys are. But no, just kidding. We're all
Yeah,
in town, in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
that's
So
right.
I think that's pretty cool too. When we,
Yeah.
we're right in where all the action is going on. So, yeah, I think that's
Hmm.
essentially what I think I got and collectively what we got for stuff we want to do moving forward to continue to make it better. And some of the ideas that we have, who knows if all of them are going to come to fruition. We may get some other ideas. We may, massage some of these other ones further and just kind of see how things go. But um, as my dad always said, if you're not growing, you're dying. um,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
so
Totally.
in some respect, you don't want to go status quo just forever. But at the same time, we all have lives, children, families, work. So we do this, because we like it. But there's limits to everything, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I think that kind of puts a bow on that, so to speak. Um, I was going to hop into a couple other topics. This isn't going to be the longest podcast, but I wanted to specifically talk about, or not we collectively talk about Jordy Nelson retiring and what he means. And then we were going to try as much as we can to kind of discuss some of the NFL draft with respect to the Packers, but also with respect to maybe the NFC North, um, and see what's going on there. So, um, Jordy Nelson, yeah. Let's see, he played for 10 years. Yeah. Um, he was, he was a great Packer. There's people talking about, is he an NFL Hall of Fame player? I don't think so. Is he a Packer
Packer
Hall
Hall
of
of Famer,
Famer?
but
No doubter. No doubter.
Sure.
no doubt.
Um,
Yeah.
and in his prime, there were some stats I read out there. I think it was in a 3 or 4 year window that nobody had a higher, quarterback receiver rating or better connection from a statistical category than Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. It was the wavelength that those guys were on, and we'll call it from. I mean, hell, Jordy Nelson's coming out party was a freaking Super Bowl. That's a nice coming out party to have. He was ascending,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I was at Super Bowl in Dallas. I mean, I was high up. I didn't have the greatest seats, but here I am. Look at me complaining about Super Bowl. But anyway, I remember when he caught that touchdown pass. We were far away, way up in the rafters or whatever. But when he caught that touchdown pass, that was the beginning of his career and Aaron Rodgers and him getting that trust. And then remember in 2011, obviously they went 15-1, and every other play it seemed like Jordy Nelson was running deep for a frickin' 50-yard bomb, and Rodgers was either bootlegging out or play action, and that was seemed unstoppable. And he was a great guy. All things, just what was he, a second round pick, I believe, out of Kansas State. Played 10. I mean,
Right.
he played his last year with the Raiders, but that's it was kind of an unceremonious end to his Packer career. But that's how things go. They always say you want to get rid of somebody a year too early than a year too late. So a lot of people were pissed that he didn't come back, but I still say that was football wise that was the right
Yeah.
move. But
It was.
yeah, I mean, what else can you say? Him and Rodgers were incredible. I was looking at a highlight reel of just even some other passes, and I mean the back shoulders and the red zone kind of stuff. It was pretty incredible. And Jordy Nelson, he's an underrated athlete. you know.
Very
So,
much so.
um,
Very much so.
so what do you guys think? Leave it. I'll throw it out to you.
Yeah. I don't know much else to add to that, really.
Yeah, I think amongst the three of us, I'm probably the most homerish when it comes to Jordy Nelson. You mentioned 10 years. Uh, you know, 9 of them were really good. I should say 8, maybe. But as far as a consummate pro, he is your picture. He's your he's your goal of what you want a leader to be. He's a silent leader, leads by example. He wasn't very vocal, but I think that worked well with the Packers. Just the way the teams was set up with certain vocal members like Charles Woodson and such. He just led by example, and that's the one thing I appreciated about him. He's not a Terrell Owens. Um, you know,
Right.
I appreciate Terrell Owens as an athlete, but as a person, as a football player, I mean, it just took it too far. So it was a joy to watch Jordy. And honestly, I'm of the three of us, probably I don't feel like he should have been let go. The way that I saw it was, and I don't know how things went behind closed doors. We all kind of know
Yeah.
what we read everything that went on, but to me, what should have happened is the Packers should have went to him and said, "Hey, Jordy, what do you feel is a realistic number that you would play at?" And if he comes back with something and you don't agree
Mm.
with it, then you move on. But to come at him and just say, you know what, you gotta come back and make the veterans minimum. That was truly a slap in the face and not good business sense. It truly wasn't. And maybe I'm in the minority on that, but I don't care. You
But
just don't
do
do
you,
that to a guy like him.
do you think that that was because he didn't talk himself up enough?
Oh, that's a good point. I mean,
Like
yeah.
there's this. I, so my podcast of the day that I was listening to was like things you should know, I think, and they were talking about confirmation biases and people repeating lies, and so you start to believe things that are false even though you know they're wrong, and
Hmm.
vice versa. And so you mentioned some players, and you hear all the fictions about them all the time, and you're like, well, they're not as good as they say they are, but they
Sure.
all stick in our heads, right?
Right.
And maybe he's better than we think he is, but he's so soft spoken that
That's a
he
good
doesn't get the
point.
credit.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. But I think the few times that he has been interviewed in his 1 year career in Oakland, there was some disappointment there. I think he was genuinely disappointed how things turned out. And he was never, like I said, he was never a vocal gentleman during his
Yeah.
whole career. And when he was asked the questions about how the Packers and how that all ended, he was very short, or he was plainly honest when he would just say, "I didn't like how it ended." So did that mean that, there were some things behind closed doors that the Packers said to him that he didn't
Right.
appreciate? You know, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I truly don't know, but I just don't feel like the situation was handled as well. I think it wasn't as bad as Brett Favre, that's for sure. But it could be kind of, on the surface, it could be, one of those transactions that the franchise has made, where you just kind of say, what the heck happened there? The way it ended was really,
Yeah.
really weird.
It's
You
funny when
know,
you said that
um,
it wasn't Brett Favre. It's like, could you imagine Jordy on like the revenge tour, going from team to team, trying to play? It's like, no way. And
no, he'd never do that.
to your guys' point, especially you, Elliot, when you talked about, he was really soft spoken. He was anything but he was the antithesis of a diva wide receiver. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's just, I mean, what if any disparaging comments can you say about him? I really,
None.
unless something terrible comes out after the fact. I mean, he is the epitome of a Packer, you know, a Packer player and a, what do they call
Right.
it, Packer people or whatever. So yeah, and it's actually thinking about what you just said, Jeremy. And how it ended kind of unceremoniously. It was, Ted was the only GM he knew too, and so Gutekunst comes in, and like
Mhm.
there's got to be an element of this. He's putting his stamp on the team. He went out and got Jimmy Graham, who was kind of, I don't want to say he wasn't replacing Jordan Nelson. That's not the right thing, but their ages are similar. He plays tight end, but I mean, so that's not the best description, but you almost get the feeling that Gutekunst has kind of gone out of his way to make it his team, and even
Oh,
with
very much
Jordy,
so.
Right.
with getting rid of him, there might have been the start of him going, nope. And I, again, football wise, I think it was the right move. The veterans minimum stuff, I think, is a bunch of bullshit
Hmm.
too. I agree with that. That's junky. I don't care if it, that's, you almost get the feeling that Jordy went to um, the Raiders not to stick it to them, but to be like, I'm gonna play one more year. When in reality, he's like, and then when it was over, he was like, okay, this is done and past, so to speak. Um, I mean, let's hope there's no bad
Mhm.
feelings. I mean, he's gonna he's gonna sign his 1-day contract and retire as a Packer. I'd be absolutely
Hmm.
stunned if that doesn't happen and happen soon. Um, so yeah, I mean, now that he's gone, this team is, when you look at it, man, you talk about changing. This is a new team, new everything. It's really moved
Hmm.
on from Ted, who Rogers. It's the only one who's really left. But that's the NFL. What do they say? Not for long.
Well, and I think you said it perfectly when you said that Gutekunst wants to put his stamp on the team. I think he did that right
Yep.
away with Jordy Nelson. I think that started right there. It started during the seasons. It started in the this off season, and we'll see this draft. I look at last year's draft, and I don't. If I had to compare, I don't see Ted Thompson making the same picks that Goody made. I just don't see that. So it'll be really interesting to see now a full off season that Brian could kind of soak everything in, and then hopefully approach this draft in the way that he wants. I'm really, really keenly interested in
Yeah.
seeing how this draft
This
plays
is
out,
huge.
because I
Huge.
think, yeah, well, let's be honest. If they fail this draft, it's not going to happen for a while. And I mean, the Super Bowl. If they
Mhm.
come out this year, they hit on number 12, they hit on number 30, and they hit on 44. The prognosis looks really, really good. Because with free agency they picked up their two outside linebackers, a safety, which were their two biggest weaknesses on defense, and now they can just worry about filling in the other positions that can make them a stronger unit. So it's really cool to see this happen. I'm very impressed with how Goot has handled it. Might not agree with every move that he
Yeah.
made, but he's made moves. And we'll see how they play out. Right now, we're in that mode where they're going to be coming in, and we're going to see what they can do. And I think they're going to be given all the tools to do that, to do well, I should say. And I'm really excited. This draft really excites me. I haven't been so excited for a draft in a long, long time until this 2019 draft started to come up here, and
Yeah.
I'm
You know what's
stoked.
funny is,
I'm really
as you
stoked.
said that, even like the latter half of Ted's tenure, I mean, draft was the only method he used, right? So you're not looking forward to trades or free agency. So even when the draft would come around with Ted, I'd be like, I wasn't all that hyped up, because I was like, he's
No,
just gonna draft a
no,
bunch of try hard guys. That's what I always felt like at the second half of his tenure, I should say, not the beginning. And that's sad if that's the only thing
yeah,
you can look forward to is the draft. And then it would come around, I'd be like, I don't want, because he's gonna trade out of, he'd trade out of the top 10, collect some picks, and then he'd get some. Yeah, so I'm ready for that to go bye-bye. I'm ready for us to pick up a stud at 12. Or shit, what if they package something up and they
yep.
go even higher? That'd be
We'll see.
something. And that,
It's
and
not out of
then
the question. Not out of the
yeah,
question. I mean, honestly, they're they're not one player
no,
away from being really good. They're multiple players away. So trading up to get, let's say, Quinn Williams, who's a defensive lineman from Alabama, that'd be a great move because he's got that talent to be that next Warren Sapp type player. But I just don't agree with it because right now they need numbers. They need multiple positions rebuilt. To me, um, just thinking right at the top of my dome, number 12 should be pass rusher or possibly a safety. But I'm thinking defensive line, and I think I've voiced this before. Their defensive line I think it's quite overrated. Besides, Kenny Clark, Mike Daniels is in the last year of his contract, and he's been injury prone in the past 2 years. He hasn't played a full 16 games. And then,
yeah, I hear you.
beyond them, who do they have? They have guys that are meant to be backups. We talked about this before. So I think the defensive line is really a sore spot that they need to, heavily invest at. If it's 12 or 30 or whatever, but even offensive line too, they're still not stout there. They improved with Billy Turner, but he's not that next level talent at this point. Maybe he will be, but they need that number 12 guy has to be a player that steps in and just is a
Yeah, no
difference
doubt. If
maker.
they screw up
He
12,
has to
I
be
mean, it
that.
almost doesn't matter what they do with the rest of the draft. I shouldn't say that, but I mean, you can't screw up 12. You just can't. There's no way.
No,
Who's the guy I've been reading
no.
about all over the place? Oliver. Have you? What's his? I can't remember his first name. Have you seen his
Ed Oliver,
measurables and like his
Ed.
guy? The guy's
You
like
know,
damn
we're
RoboCop
not
out
we're
there.
not
It's just like some of these. He's running like a 4.6 40, and I mean, just some of these numbers are just obscene, And they're going, he's not going to make it to 12. No damn way. No way.
right. And the biggest at the combine, the biggest what's the word I'm looking for? The biggest barometer for how good a player is or how
Mm-hmm.
explosive he is the three cone drill. And he ran that like
The
a
guy's a
wide receiver
defensive
would.
Lineman.
It's freaking
These guys,
ridiculous.
oh boy.
So that's what I mean is that number 12 he has if Ed Oliver falls to them, take him. You don't even question it. You just go up to the podium and hand in your card. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
he is going to be that type of player. When his physical traits are off the charts like that, you can work with a player like that and you can mold him.
Well, you
And
could
he's
plug
already
him
a
in at
damn
wide
good player. I
receiver,
mean,
it
some of the
sounds like.
some of the video on him, you can plug
Yeah,
him in
no
at
shit.
running back too. I mean, goal line stand. So to me, that would be an obvious one. If Ed Oliver's sitting there at 12, you
Yeah.
take him. You
This is
don't
a
even
good segue
question it.
because we're
Move
basically
on.
into the draft now. But one thing I keep hearing on Twitter or seeing in the blogosphere and other pack people is Derwin James. They had Derwin James in their laugh last year, and they didn't take him. They traded out, but then they got Alexander. Right? Is that what happened?
Yeah, They had Derwin James and Tremaine Edmonds there at 14, and I to this day I'm very
Why didn't
sour
they?
about not taking Derwin James because he I don't know. To me, if I'm a GM and that guy's sitting there at 14, I'm doing the same thing as I would if Ed Oliver was there. I just walk up to the podium and hand him my card.
Yeah.
He was a Pro Bowler last year
And we don't
in a
have
rookie
anything for
as a
safety
rookie.
that was like even last year with Clinton Dix or whatever. It's like they still could have used him, but I hate to keep bringing this back up, but I have no memory of that, so I have to like read it and then like research it and like kind of find out what it meant again. I have, you know, so
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I barely remember
yeah.
Alexander, but he played pretty well. He had his ups and downs, but I mean, hopefully he'll do okay. I mean,
Hmm.
they need to have jumps from the rookies from last year, without question.
Yes,
And
tremendous
what
jumps. They can't fall into that second year
no,
slump like a lot of second year guys do, which haha Clinton Dix kind of did. So
no doubt. There's
they
so
can't
many
have
things
that.
that have to align for the team to be really good. I think they could be good, but if they want to be, let's
Hmm.
put it this way: if they want to challenge for a Super Bowl, if they want to, it's one thing to challenge for a playoff spot. It's another thing to challenge for a Super Bowl. I think realistically they could challenge for a playoff spot this year, but if they, being the Green Bay Packers, it's all about championships. If they want to challenge for a Super Bowl, the stars have to align with three or four guys making the second year jump. They got to knock it out of the park and get three starters out of this draft, probably at a minimum. They got to do basically what New Orleans did
Mhm.
a couple of years ago
Hmm.
or whatever. But it's asking a lot. I think
Yep.
I think they could get better this year, and then you got to obviously not have significant injuries to guys that you count on. That's any team, But
Hmm.
it's asking a lot. I'd be over the moon if they could, but I think the team is at least a year away still.
Yeah, they have the semblance of a decent team starting up, but we'll see after this draft where the cards lay because, like you said, if they can get three starters right away, um, things look a lot brighter. If they don't get three starters right away, it's going to be very hard to compete in a very competitive NFC North,
Yeah.
and also the NFC division. It's just very tough. I just don't see them in the class of the Rams or the Saints. I just don't see them there. But could they jump if they draft right and guys, in their second years, like Jair Alexander steps it up a notch? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they could be. It could be. But like you said, all stars
Yeah.
have to align to get there. Right now, I think it's unrealistic to expect a Super Bowl at this point.
And you also, the
Um,
other thing that
but
not
we'll
many
see.
people are talking about, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has to get back to Aaron Rodgers. Does he have to get back to MVP form? I don't know, but he's got to be
Yes.
better than he was. And let's hope and pray that, he doesn't start to,
Mhm.
I hate to say it, you start to fall off. And then you have the albatross of a contract around
Regress.
him. I think he's going to light the league on fire this year, personally. Um, he's in a new offense, new head coach, all that good stuff, and nobody plays with a chip on their shoulder better than him. Maybe Michael Jordan, So I'm counting on him to really,
Right.
you know, put in the work in the off season, and like I said, light the league on fire. And I mean, they got to get jumps from the wide receivers, from the MVS and Equanimous St. Brown, and who's the other guy I'm thinking of? That
Jamon Moore needs to step up
yeah,
too. He was a fourth
yeah,
round
they were
draft pick
remaking
last
the
year.
receiving core. I it didn't even quite occur to me that blatantly. But if you're drafting three wide receivers, you know, they didn't do that just for their health. You know,
No, and it could be quite possible that the staff right now is happy with what they got. I don't know. I mean, uh, Lafleur has never had like these dynamic wide receiver sets. He's always had a good tight end set wherever he's been, and has been able to make things work out of that. He might be perfectly
yeah,
satisfied with what he has right now. If he is, we'll see. I think these guys. I think MVS. shows just as much
Hmm.
promise as Devontae Adams did in his rookie year. I think Equanimeous St. Brown, they're talking about him working the slot, be a big slot receiver. I think he would be pretty dynamic there. And then Jamon Moore, if he can actually, catch the ball, like Devontae Adams didn't do earlier on in his career, he's got a really nice set of hands. It just makes it look so natural when he does catch it. He's not gonna be a burner, but he's got the talent to be a good one. So he just has to, get over that mental hurdle that he was over last year. So, are they going to be happy with the receivers that they have? I think they are, honestly. I think, we talked about this last year, that they came into the season relatively happy with the team they had. And I think they felt confident that it was a team that could be a playoff team and could go to the Super Bowl. Otherwise, why do you go into that season and not make any moves whatsoever? It just, that screams that you're
Yeah.
complacent and you're happy with what you have. This year they're not doing that. They've shown that they are not happy with what
Yeah,
they
no
have,
doubt.
and they're
The
willing to
urgency's
improve
high.
it.
Let's
So,
let's face it. The window's closing with Rodgers and whatnot. I mean, it's no
well,
good.
and getting back to that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, think about, we made him the highest paid
Right.
quarterback. So we're paying him to be very successful. We're paying him to be the MVP. Anything less than that is not enough. It's not, because we've sacrificed the team for him, and I
Yeah.
mean literally the team for him, because financially we can't go out and be big players in free agency. Uh, you know, the offseason with Kenny Clark, being a free agent, are we going to be able to give him a big contract because we've sucked so much money into Aaron Rodgers? There's just so many what
Yeah,
ifs, and he has to
no
be an
doubt.
MVP.
You were
No
talking about
questions asked.
Devontae too, and comparing him with Jamon Moore. Devontae, he looks like he could be the next Jordy Nelson to Rodgers, only better. He's more athletic. He's a great route
Hmm.
runner. He's great off the
Right.
line. Again, he's faster.
Hmm.
I think, and I mean, the year that Jordy came into his own was his fourth year. Let's see, 2000. Well, end of the. I mean, it was around the same time. Um, but I could see him being like the next generation, um, Jordy Nelson. If basically he
Yeah.
was, already. I guess last year, but he could
Hmm.
get even better. You know.
Yeah, I think he's talent
Hmm.
wise, he's better, and I'm not knocking Jordy in any
Exactly.
way, shape, or form. But just talent wise, the guy's feet
He is
he's like a
smooth off
dancer
the
out there.
line.
I mean, his
Yeah, he
feet
is
are so
smooth off the
freaking
line.
phenomenal. Yeah, and he makes some
Yeah,
and he makes some D backs
yeah,
look ridiculous. I mean, he breaks
yeah.
knees.
He's come a long
It's
way, no
phenomenal
doubt.
to
The
watch.
other thing I didn't quite bring up offensively wise was in terms of stars aligning. I mean, I love Aaron Jones, but got to stay healthy. And we were screaming at McCarthy last
Yep,
year. Why weren't you
and
using?
I
Why
think
weren't you do this, that, or the other? And I think there was a reason, and I think it was he was trying to limit some of his snaps. Now he went way too far the other way. I'll say that, McCarthy. But at the
right.
same time, he didn't make it through the season. He got hurt again. So that's
Hmm.
2 seasons in a row he's been hurt. If he's going to be the bell cow that they say, he's got to stay healthy because right now he's going to split carries because he can't stay healthy. But man, when he's in there and he's pretty healthy, he's a top
Right.
5 running back, easy.
Easy, and I think his cap is probably 200 carries a year. I think that truly is his comfortable cap. I think anything more than that, he's not going to be able to handle it. You're right. I think McCarthy was trying to limit his carries last year because he knew he was kind of fragile. So do the Packers go into this draft and look at a running back? They very well could go very high and
Hmm.
draft a running back. I don't think they're satisfied with what they have because LaFleur says he wants to run the ball. He wants to run the ball to set up the pass. So the way that you do that is to obviously run the ball a lot more and have dynamic backs that can do that. We have one. Jamal Williams doesn't really fit the zone scheme, so they're going to draft somebody. I can almost guarantee that that'll happen. Whether it's in a high second or third or
Or
whatever,
they could
it,
just
it could very
they
well
could bring
happen
back
that
Ty
high.
Montgomery and make him a running
So
back again.
they
Eddie Lee, what the hell is he doing?
or just bring
Whatever
back Eddie
happened to him?
Lacy.
Is he out of the league?
It's got to be.
Jeez, he ate himself out of the league, didn't he?
Of
Yeah,
Damn
ouch.
shame. Man.
Literally.
Oh, he was a bowling ball.
Sad, because that guy was a talent.
Right, in 2014 or whenever. Man.
Mm.
Yeah, when is Rodgers?
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Lacy's the best running back he ever had. And then Aaron Jones is probably close behind, but
yep.
you know, he's still TBD because can't stay healthy, you know. And like I said, I was too hard on McCarthy, but it took a while to figure that out because, you know, he was screaming to run the ball, but man, he was limiting his carries for a reason. And apparently he was limiting them because he thought he was going to get into the playoffs. Yep. Boing. Just kidding. I couldn't help that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want to see if our experiment worked. So
okay.
Let's wrap her down.
Wrap her down. Well, should we put out the voicemail and stuff like that for the
yeah we totally should. So I totally have the voicemail hotline phone number on the website now. So the website is absolutepacker.com. If you would like to send in an email for us to read, if you're very shy, you can email fans@absolutepacker.com. You can attach a little audio clip and we can include that in the show, or a video clip if you want to do that. Otherwise, you can just call in on your smarty phone and dial up 508-535-5468. You should be able to pull that up on your smarty phone, click on the number, and...
Smarty phone.
Yeah, that's
Smarty pants.
That's what my brother calls it.
Smarty phone.
So, yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny? This is speaking of smarty phones. I was at there's a motorsports convention thing this weekend. Just hear me out. I know I off on the tangents, but listen to this. So I'm at this convention and I look down and this lady at one of the booths, she had a razor. I hadn't seen a flip phone razor. I had not seen one of those in a long time. Yeah.
Those are around still?
I almost wanted to put it under glass and take it with me.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Good. Caught me off guard.
But by all means, if anybody would like to tell us if this is worth the effort to do video, and I know just seeing our faces is maybe not all that great, but yeah, especially that. But
whoops.
But I think if we have some video to show, I think that'd be cool. So.
And I do have clothes on, so everybody knows I'm not sitting here naked.
No, please.
Just the top.
Please.
We don't see what's below.
Let's just wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Chappelle Show. Yes. Nice. All right, go Petco.
Go Pack, go.
All right. Stop this.
Podcast.
Chair.
I know, right?